What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the shop. Let me get you caught up. Right now I am working on this tray out of walnut, and it has a box inside that slides and some gorgeous figured walnut. Oh, but I think this needs splines, and what I'm thinking is brass splines. So today I'm going to show you how I do that, and that starts with go over to the table saw. We're going to make us a simple jig, and that's going to help you to make perfect splines. Smooth like butter. I want my jig to work right here at the table saw, just like my sled. So to start, we need to make some runners. Now, I like to make my runners out of hardwood, so I'm just gonna look through the scrap wood that I have to make those, but you could also use plastic if you've got some plastic. And for the body, we are going to use particle board. Just because I've got a bunch of it lying around, you could also use plywood too. So I'm going to grab some wood, make runners, and then take this piece of particle board and cut it down to the size that I need for the base of that. And we're gonna get that assembled first. My runners fit perfectly into the slot, so now I've moved them so they're right on the edge of my table saw, and then I move my fence over. I can use that as a registration guide, so I can take my panel, push it up against my fence, line that up with my runners, make sure everything is nice and flush. Now, I can drop a couple screws from the top down into the runners, and whenever I'm all done, I should be able to take this off, and I'll have a functional base for us to start working on the rest of the jig. The base is done. It's a little bit stiff, but that's okay. I'm gonna end up waxing the whole thing before I use it. Applying wax, not waxing. You know what I mean. But the runners, I screwed the runners in place. Now, I could have easily glued them in place or glue and screw. It doesn't really matter. Do whatever you wanna do to your jig. You can completely ad-lib this whole thing. Now, if you've got some really good ideas on how we can improve this thing, then please leave a comment in the comment section below. That way we can all make some really cool jigs together. Now, the next step is I need the wings, and that's what holds the box in place. So I have some 1/2-inch plywood, so I need to cut a couple of those. They're gonna sit just like this at a 45-degree angle. The box will sit in place, and then we will work on some wedges that go underneath to hold the wings into place. I've got my wings, I have my wedges, now I need to put these together. So I am gonna do 4 wedges per wing, and I will space them out. And then after those are glued together, I will flip this over and then I can glue the whole thing onto my jig. I put registration marks next to each one so I know where they're supposed to go. And the middle is open because that's where the blade goes. I don't want to have one of these where the blade is because that would suck. I'm gonna just put a little bit of glue on here. You could also glue and nail these into place if that's what you wanted to do. I will not be doing that. And I'm going to make sure that I register the edge right on the edge of my board. I can make sure it's straight by putting my square up to it. And I can use another piece to make sure that it is flush onto the edge. Straw, really terrible scissors. At an angle. Whoop. There goes that excess glue. My wings are dry, so now it's time to attach them onto the actual base. And to do that, I've got my blade in, I elevated it up. So now I have to make a cut through the base of the jig, but don't cut all the way through because, well, that would suck. By cutting halfway through the base, now I can take my wing and put it on the jig itself and press it up against my blade. Take a square, put the square up against the blade and the bottom edge of the fence and make sure that I have a good 90-degree angle there. Now I know that's where my wing should be. I can flip this over, I can put glue on the bottom of the wedges, bring this back into place, set it where it needs to be, let the glue dry. Doing the other wing is super simple. All I have to do is pull this back out, take the other wing, put glue on the bottom of the wedges, and then press it right up against my other wing, making sure that I have no gap there where the two meet. And I know that's gonna be perfectly lined up whenever I do my splines. I let the glue dry overnight. I can say this is a thing of beauty. I love the way it looks, but more importantly, the way it's going to perform. We have this huge flat surface, plenty of surface area to put boxes, but also stop blocks with clamps on either side. If you build this at home, you could completely trick this out. Make it the way that you need for your shop. Next step for me is to put it to use. I've got the box that I was working on. I want to put 2 splines on each corner, including the small box. So let's try it out. Okay, you want a couple tips to get really good splines. First one starts with a blade. Use a flat bottom blade, like a ripping blade, when you do this. That's gonna give you a clean, squared off cut. You want that. Second, use a zero clearance plate on your jig. So if your blade's high and you cut through your jig and then you lower the blade down, now you have this giant kerf and nothing to support the backside of that box. So when the blade cuts through the box, it could potentially splinter out when the blade exits the box. So to prevent that, you can easily, if you have a giant kerf in your jig, just take a board, put that on here, you can put it on the other side too. Now you have a zero clearance plate, you're gonna get clean cuts.
No rest. No, no. I've been down so long that my mind can't get no rest. No, no. This ain't easy, darling, 'cause the devil's on my trail.
I think these turned out absolutely amazing. Look at that brass compared to the walnut. They are fantastic. And it really wasn't that hard. All you had to do was make a simple jig like this. You'll be knocking out perfect splines in no time. And if you do, make sure you leave a comment down below letting me know how it worked out for you. If you enjoyed this video and if it helped you out, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, get in your shop and build something awesome.